Do you think that people just really enjoyed being around you because they would...
Being around me?
Well, I mean, you got such levels of intimacy with these artists where you would be hanging out and scoring with girls with them and partying with them, drinking.
And scoring girls for them, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to let anybody do that,
Yeah, well, it's funny because you go to a show and the road crew gets there first. And they want to hook up with whatever girls they can, whether they're fat, ugly, bobby pins in their head, no teeth, whatever. Okay. Me, I had, let's just say, a little bit more higher taste. So at night, the tour manager would come up to me and he'd give me 20, 30 backstage passes and go, okay, Zloz, you know what to do. They don't want to give them to the road crew because the scene after the show wouldn't be so good. But if Zloz went and distributed backstage passes to the friendly females that wanted to get backstage, it's a whole different scene. So
Roseanne bars, the road crew would get Roseanne bars back there.
That wasn't going to happen for me. So
do you remember how you got the gig for Van Halen? Because you came here first on Van Halen 2.
Yeah.
That was the first thing you shot.
Well, I remember exactly. So the first time I ever heard Van Halen, I was in an office, and I was listening, and all of a sudden they said, okay, new band Van Halen. I heard, Running with the Devil, the Air Raid Siren, and I'm like, wow, I never heard anything like this. And you got to remember, we were coming off the disco days. Yeah. Donna Summers, Village People, Saturday Night Fever, Grease. It was sort of a sad time. I mean, I liked all that stuff too if you want to go dancing and stuff, but I'm a rock and roller. I like rock, okay? Mm-hmm. So the first time I heard Running with the Devil and then immediately broke into Eruption, You Really Got Me, and I'm like, I got to work with this band. So at the time, myself and a friend of mine, Barry Levine, world-famous photographer, innovator, trendsetter, he single-handedly changed the face of studio rock and roll photography. We were hired to shoot a Texas Jam. And so we go there, and we were hired by the promoter, so we had clearance to shoot everybody, all the bands, Aerosmith, Nugent, Heart, I think Journey was there. So I'm waiting for Van Halen and I'm on stage, waiting for them to get on stage because I was going to shoot them. And this guy came in, basically the most intimidating guy in the world, who turns out to be Noel Monk, who became their manager. He saw me. He's got little black leather coat, black leather pants, billy club, mace, handcuffs, Peter Fonda glasses. He goes, what are you doing on my stage? Oh, I'm going to shoot, we're shooting this for the promoter. We're clear. Well, you may be clear for everybody, but not Van Halen, so get the fuck off the stage. Wow. I'm like, ooh. So I went in the audience and I watched them, and they delivered the good. And so I went back to L.A., and they had 2 more shows on that tour, San Diego and Long Beach. And it turns out a friend of mine, Bob Gibson, was their publicist. So I called up Bob and said, hey, Bob, I want to work with this band. So he gave me photo passes for San Diego in Long Beach, and back then I shot the whole show. I brought the photos to the band, to his office a few weeks later. The whole band was there, showed him the photos, and I guess they really never had a real photographer shoot them up to that point. And they looked at my stuff and loved it. So then they were doing a session up in, they were playing a Day on the Green in Oakland, and I flew up there and I did my first backstage shoot with them. And I guess they liked that too. So next thing you know, we were all the same age and had a lot of things in common.
How old are you then? 24 roughly? 23?
24 going on 200. Yeah. I'm old enough. That's what I tell my girlfriend's parents. So anyway, so next thing you know, we're all hanging and getting into trouble together and just working together. Became
partying, bagging girls, snorting blow, all that.
Whatever your mind wants to imagine. But yeah,
nice.
Like I said, I hung out with the bad boy. It's a lot of fun. I'm surprised I'm still alive.
Oh my gosh. So then, hey, Neil, we're shooting Van Halen 2. Can we book you for this date and go to Sunset Sound on Sunset Boulevard?
Well, you're talking about Van Halen 2 album cover shoot, or are you talking about the shoot we did here at Sunset Sound?
In here at Sunset Sound.
Oh, they just said, hey, Zloz, why don't you come to Sunset Sound and do a shoot? That had nothing to do with Van Halen 2. That was just,
But they were recording that album when you shot that in here.
Yeah. I mean, Dave is a genius of controlling the media and knowing what people like. Yeah. So you got 4 different personalities in that band, and Eddie and Al are great musicians. And back then, we were only 24 years old, whatever. So even I, like I said, was a shy kid, But Dave was the one who knew the importance of image. So Dave was the one who had all these publicity stunts, and he was the one that always wanted to shoot. And one thing, whether it's Motley or Poison or Rat, when you're starting off, you always want to do photo shoots, okay? And, you want to get in the magazines. You want to open up that Cream or Circus or Hip Radar, and you want to see a picture of you or your band or whatever, because A, it's going to sell records, and B, if you're looking good, you're going to end up with some hot chicks,
Yeah.
So we just, Dave knew the importance, and we did a lot of photo shoots. But it's funny, like I was telling you, as the bands get bigger, they want to do less and less photo shoots. In their mind, they get to the point where they think, oh, we're too big to do this. We don't need this anymore. They sort of lose track of reality once their sort of ego set in and they've sold a few platinum records or whatever else is going on. So,
can you let everybody know that photo that was shot right over in this corner, are we allowed to put it up so we can talk about it?
You can put it up.
He said we can put it up.
Do you have the image, or do I have to send it to you?
Well, if you want.
Oh, that one's so old and faded. I think that's been up since 1978, that one.
Yeah. But the beer cans, they weren't partying in here at all. Those were all staged.
You know what?
I mean, they were partying here, but that was all staged for that photo shoot.
Yeah, but I came in here on a day. Look, when you're a rock band and you're paying $1,000 an hour to record or whatever the fee is, you aren't recording when Neil Zlozower is there. You're there to shoot photos because you don't want me, as in Zloz, to get in your way, that $1,000 a day bill. So there was probably a day off, and Paul was nice enough to let him use this studio, and we did a photo shoot. So,
Paul Cameron.
But a lot of that dirt could have been there, or it could have been similar, because if you went up to 5150 to Ed's studio at his house in Coldwater when Ed was still alive, that place was a mess. I mean, most guys are slobs anyway,
Yeah, but, I mean, that was his home studio. This is a
professional place. But if they had it on lockdown for a week or whatever, it's like, I'm sure they didn't have to take all that gear out every night and lug it in the next day because another band was coming at 8:00 that night. So,
I mean, I just want to get the vibe of that day when you came in here. I mean, you also shot Women and Children, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but you come into Sunset Sound. Is everybody here? What time is it? What's going on? Are you guys fucking
I don't
snorting
remember
rails?
No, I don't think we were doing any blow that day, but what do you call it? And, when I'm working, I work. I like to play a little too, but, that's 1978, so that's 88, 98, 108, 118, so that's 43 years ago I shot those photos. That was a long time ago, but it was pretty business. That was probably one of the first really big photo shoots I did with the band. So I wanted to make sure everything went good and the photos looked good. So I'm sure I wasn't drinking 20 Mickey's Big Mouth beers back then. Maybe after the shoot was done I did, but not during the shoot.